rite of the womb. And this is the 13th ray of the Munay-ki. And this is it's a tradition of, I think it is a group of indigenous women somewhere in South America, I believe. And they say that they've brought down this 13th ray of healing and of wisdom from the divine, from spirit, in order to heal the womb. And the rite of the womb involves speaking directly to the womb, and it is passed down from the original source of whichever woman received it, and then she passed it down to another woman, and it got passed down like that. The hands of the other woman go onto the womb of another woman, and she says to the woman, the womb is not a place to store pain or fear. The womb is a place to create and give birth to new life. The womb is not a place to store fear or pain. The womb is to create and to give birth to new life. And the receiving woman takes in this rite, takes in this wisdom, this transmission, then places her hands on her own womb and tells herself and tells her womb, the womb is not a place to store fear or pain. The womb is to create and to give birth to new life. And then at the right time, if she wishes, she can pass it down to another. So sometimes this rite is passed down in a group of women who come together for this purpose. So when I discovered this rite, I really wanted to receive. And so I emailed a few women in Israel who I thought were connected to that group somehow, and I never received a response. So I decided to just tune in to that tribe of women and to spirit and receive that rite from the etheric realm with a lot of respect and a lot of integrity. And so that's how I received the rite initially. And I read from the women who were involved in the origins of this rite that they recommended nurturing this. Our word is so powerful, so it's nurturing the power of that word, that energy from divine spirit, which is contained in those words, that is then transmuted down to the womb, to nurture that energy for 13 moons. So that's over a year. So that's what I did. Every month when I would bleed, I took my blood in the menstrual cup and I would pour it into the earth, and I would say the rite, the womb is not a place to store fear or pain. The womb is to create and to give birth to life. And that was how I sort of started renewing the energy in my womb, by nurturing that rite. Finally, towards my third year in Israel, I came across a teacher, Melanie, and we started doing womb work as a group. And that's when I started to receive this knowing from my whole being that it was time to leave my marriage and to just take my life on the course that I was meant to walk. When I arrived back in New York, after leaving my relationship, after leaving Israel, within the first 2 weeks, there was a woman who was giving a workshop to pass down the rite of the womb in person, in the flesh. And so I signed up right away to receive that rite in person. And it was kind of just like an in the flesh, renewal of it. But I knew that I had nurtured it, well for those 13 moons back in Israel. And then when I received the rite in the flesh, it sort of like sealed it in. And 6 months later, I led my own group in New York, a group of about 10 women, and I passed down the rite to them. So that's something that we're going to be closing out the Temple of the Rose with, is passing down the rite of the womb. And of course, we're doing it virtually,